Welcome to the Choecast. I am your beloved favorite freshman English teacher. And if I'm not your English teacher and you're watching this, I don't know you like that. We don't have that type of relationship. Anyway, I had a list of all these big, important life topics that I wanted to go over today. And then I sat down in front of my camera. And this is literally the 20th time I'm recording something because I kid you not, my neighbor started coughing outside my window like he had, I don't know, like he was giving birth to some sort of alien creature from his throat. My mom started yelling for me to come eat lunch, and then I got so that was a no go. My stomach started making so much noise that it sounds like a whole symphony by itself. It's really bad. So if while I'm talking, you hear my like a weird demon noise, it's not a demon. It's my stomach trying to digest lunch, I guess. Anyway, I think the thing that I want to talk about today is the fact that everyone is a liar, and me especially. So I think that we are going to be calling this the chameleon episode. Please tell me you know what a chameleon is, right? It's one of those lizard things and it has the eyeballs that go all around the place. And they are really well known for being able to change their color and their skin pattern to fit wherever they are. They're really good at camouflage. And I don't know if this is a phrase that you hear so much in English. I definitely do hear this phrase a lot in Korean because it's, like a culture thing. But no. In English, they definitely do say this too. I feel like a lot of times when I hear people talk about this, it's in a sort of negative way where, oh, that person's such a chameleon. They're so fake. They can change based on how they act with people. And I don't know. Ever since I was little, whenever I heard something like that, I'd sort of go, okay, so what? Isn't that good? Being adaptable, being able to see the mood, to read the mood of the room, to know what's acceptable, not acceptable. And I just grew up my whole life thinking that that's what people did. And then when I became an adult, I realized, oh shit, I don't really have my own identity. I just kind of fit in wherever I feel like I fit in. The reason why this is story time is because if I trace sort of my movement through friend groups when I was a kid, you can sort of see why I ended up being the way that I am. I had a group of friends in elementary school. There was a girl that I became friends with in kindergarten, I believe, or first grade. I think first grade we were in class together, and she became my best friend all the way through sixth grade. And then we stopped being friends. It's honestly because of me, but because I noticed that she would get very mad when she couldn't control things the way they wanted to be controlled. Everything had to be her way. And when I was a kid, I really didn't like that. I think as an adult, I can recognize that she was just a really good leader and people followed her. And I did not like that because I tend to be pretty strong too. And I think we just butted heads on that. It also came at a time where there was a lot of stuff going on in my life in terms of family and other stuff. And I had enough with her. So I stopped being friends with her. And I don't know if this is as much a thing in high school anymore, but when I was a kid in middle school, who you sat with at the lunch table was a really big deal. The fact that you had a lunch table and you had a group of friends was really important. And so I lost my lunch table. I didn't really have anybody to sit with. There was a time where I sat by myself for a while and then I made some friends. And they were really, really, really different from my old group of friends. So if my old group of friends were just like typical nice girls from like okay families, this new group that I wanted to be with, I wanted to be with people that were really different. And so I purposefully kind of chose the bad kids. It sounds really horrible because you shouldn't be stereotyping, but they're the kids that grew up to become the drug addicts, the ones that got in trouble. They were like the I guess they wanted to be goth, but they couldn't really be. And I wanted to be goth with them too. So I started changing the way that I dressed, the way that I talked, the music I listened to, started to get really into kind of darker things. I tried listening to metal music and I thought I was really cool. To this day, I still don't like that music. I don't know what was going through my head. It's just shitty music. But for a lot of high school, I kind of hung out with some of those kids. Not high school, I think most of middle school. And then when I got to high school a little bit, I still hung out with some of those kids. And then I just started to see that I wasn't happy with those people either. Just it wasn't a good fit for me. I stopped hanging out with them. And then when I got to high school, I realized that I was good at school and I was in classes with a lot of the smart kids. So we started hanging out together and we kind of had our own thing, but I never quite fit in with that group. It was just, and they said, oh, no, you belong. You can hang out with us. And I try to hang out and I do the things that they did. And it just, it just didn't fit me either. And I remember once, I think it was my senior year of high school, they invited me over to watch the Super Bowl with them, which is really big. I'd never been invited over to watch the Super Bowl before. The thing is, I really wasn't that interested in it, but my friends were doing it, so I went over and we hung out, and like, it was fun, but I really just didn't care about the outcome of the game. I tried watching the same TV shows as them, tried listening to the same music as them, and it just wasn't a good fit for me. So out of all the friends I had in high school, I think there was one that I kept in touch with for a little bit, and we kind of fell out of touch because our lives are just so different. And then there's one friend that I talked to recently, and it was really nice, to talk to her, but it was just really also, well, we weren't as close as we are. So I feel like as we were, I think out of all those people that I really tried and I bent over backwards to please and to fit in with when I was a kid, literally none of them matter to me anymore. It's really interesting. Even in college, when I got there, I tried to hang out with a certain group of people and they were very nice, but in the end, like, I knew that I wasn't a good fit in their group because they would go out to do things and they wouldn't invite me. And then I would ask and they'd be like, "Oh, well, so and so was there and you don't like her." And I noticed that when they got together more and more, they stopped reaching out to me, and it really is what it is. Like, I'm not particularly sad about it. It wasn't a good fit. I know that my personality changed to fit that group too. I started dressing a certain way, I started talking a certain way. And when I really look back at myself, like all those years that I went to school, how many people was I really friends with that really, really got me, that really just liked me as I was, not without me trying to fit who they thought I was. And I don't really know how many of them really I could consider real friends. When I got a little bit older, I started finding the few friends that I can talk to. Even as an adult, it's honestly very difficult for me to really feel like, oh, this person gets me. I think I can count on one hand right now the number of people that I really consider like a friend, who I really can be myself around, that I don't have to act fake around or put on a certain identity. I think I'm very fortunate the fact that I do have that many friends, though, because I have a lot of people in my life that think they know me and think that they like me, but I don't know if they would really like me if they knew what I really was like on the inside. And when I was younger, I feel like that was something that really bothered me and I really cared what other people thought. But I don't know, there was this moment somewhere in my 20s where I just, why? Why do I care? What do they do for me? Do they feed me? Do they clothe me? Do they hire me? Do they decide my happiness in life? And the answer was no. And so, excuse the language, but I went, all right, fuck them. I don't need them. I don't need you to like me. And I find that the more honest I am with myself, the happier I am, and the more people don't like me. So for example, if there's somebody that I straight up don't like, I will not go out of my way to act really nice and sweet to them. I'll be polite, but I'll make it very clear, like, I don't particularly like spending time with you. Please don't invite me to your barbecue. Please don't invite me to get, like, to hang out with your friends and do what I don't like you. And I don't need to qualify that with why I don't like you. I don't like you. You don't have to like me. It's totally fine. And I found that as my relationships with people have become less shallow, or the more that I've invested in the relationships where I can really be me, I found that the longer lasting those relationships are. Those friendships that I had when I was a kid and I was trying to fit in, I had lots of friends. I had tons and tons of friends at those times. The cost was that they weren't really friends with me. They were friends with the me that they thought that they knew. They lasted a couple of years at most, and they always fell apart. My childhood friends, I'm pretty sure that if I talked to them, we could have a nice conversation and we could talk about the past. We could be like, oh, remember when we did that? But ultimately, when it came to it, could we still be friends the way we are now? And the answer is probably not. And not because any of them were really bad people. I think out of the friends that I've had in my life, most of them were very, very, very good people, minus like a few. It's just like I wasn't friends with them and they weren't friends with me. We were friends with what we thought I was, or what I thought they were. And it was horrible. Just this feeling of always walking on eggshells my whole childhood. What if I say something? What if I do something? Are they talking about me behind my back? Oh, they're hanging out without me. Why wasn't I invited to that thing? Oh, I can't go to that thing because my parents won't let me. Now they're going to hate me. Okay. Okay. You can hate me. I don't care. My master's degree has my name on it. My paycheck has my name on it. It doesn't have your name on it. It's mine. You don't have to like me. And I feel like this people pleaser attitude I've had my whole life is very much something that I think a lot of people say that it was taught to them. And I think part of it was my mom always taught me that you shouldn't be a burden to other people. But I think also it's me. Like, I've always been a people pleaser. I've always wanted attention. I've always wanted people to say, oh, like, you're so great. I loved getting praise since I was a kid. I still like getting complimented. I like it when people like me, but I feel like as I've gotten older, I've started to learn more that it doesn't really matter if other people compliment me. I need to be able to compliment myself. So if I get the praise of 20 people, but at the end of the day, I don't feel good about the me that I'm acting as, then it kind of wasn't worth it. Honestly, I feel like I have to like me before other people like me. This sounds like a really weird topic, right? The fact that, oh yeah, I'm a liar. But what I also need you to consider is you're probably a little bit of a liar too. Even if it's not 100%, I feel like everybody is trying to be accepted. And there are times where we won't say things or do certain things, or we'll hide parts of ourselves from people because we don't want people to see a part of ourselves. I used to be really critical of those people. It sounds like I'm critical, right? Like, oh, I used to be that way. Now I'm not. There are still some situations where I do need to censor myself. I can't always say what I want to say in front of certain people. And there are certain times where I need to act a certain way. So, for example, if you ask my brother, I am genuinely one of the weirdest people in the world. I am so strange. I'm not going to act that way in front of my boss at work. That's not a side of myself I want to show her. You know, when I'm in front of my friends, we talk about certain things that I'm not going to talk about in front of my family. It's just, I used to think like, oh, you have to be yourself 100% all the time. Yeah, you should be yourself. But if you choose not to reveal certain parts of yourself in front of other people, I think that's okay too. It's sort of a balance that you have to learn to strike for yourself on your own. But I think the big thing that I really do want to touch upon is this idea that living your life shouldn't feel like you're in someone else's costume all the time. You should feel like you're you. And even if that means that you're you that doesn't choose to say a couple of things in a conversation, you're still being you. But if you're constantly calculating and worrying and tailoring yourself to someone's expectations, that's not you being you. If your identity comes at the cost of you tailoring it to somebody else, if you're always laboring to be you, then is I don't know. If that's how you really choose to live the rest of your life, I can't judge you because it's not my life, but is it worth it? Are you really going to be happy? Because from my personal experience, doing that, it's feasible. You can do it. I've done it for years at a time, but it's exhausting. I hated it. I hated every second of it. I didn't like me because I wasn't me, and now I am me, and I still screw up a lot. I'm weird. I'm really opinionated. I'm really bossy, but I'm me, and I like being me. That's not something that I could say for most of my life. I think when I was a teenager, I hated being me every second of every day. But now that I'm just me and I'm doing what I want, it's pretty nice. It's pretty freeing. I think with a lot of things that I say, you need to take this with a grain of salt. My story is not a one size fits all. Some people need to restrain themselves and act a certain way because there's a legitimate reason why. Some people choose to act a certain way to preserve other people's feelings. Maybe you're in a situation where if you do reveal your true feelings or your opinions, you could potentially get in trouble. I'm not talking about something like that. I just mean that I don't think it's healthy to surround yourself with people that expect a role from you. They should just like you for you. And if you need to be a different you to be around them and to be accepted, I don't know if that's the group of people for you. My social circle has gotten a lot smaller as I've gotten older, and that's honestly very natural. Those 10, 15, 20 closest people to you when you were a teenager, by the time you're my age, you might not have them all in your life anymore. You might. That's awesome. Maybe you all grew together, but sometimes you got to learn when to let go, I think, of certain things, including friends and including parts of your personality. However, I don't want this to sound like I'm giving you permission to be a bad person. If there's parts of yourself that are bad or harmful or hurtful to other people, you shouldn't say, this is just who I am. And Miss Choi told me to be real, so I'm just going to be an asshole. That's also not it. You put on an act when you are performing for other people. But let's say you are impatient. That's one of the things that you are self-conscious of. That is something you want to change about yourself. If you act more patient than you really are, because you really do want to become a more patient person, eventually that act is going to become part of you because your actions do build up to become you. So I wouldn't say that that's being fake. I know for me personally, I am not a patient person. I'm very, very, very impatient. I'm always, if there's something to be done, I want to do it now, like get it out of the way. But I also know that in a work setting and especially in a teaching setting, that's not a good trait to have because I need to be more patient. I need to wait for people. So as I started my career, I needed to act more patient than I really was. and it took a lot of effort. There are some days where literally people ask me questions and I want to throw myself out a window. I'm just so done with it. But I found that the more I've acted patient and the more I've pushed myself to wait for people, I found that it's become a little bit more of my personality. And I'm not doing that as an act for other people because I want them to like me better and it's a performance. I do it because I genuinely do want to be a less impatient person. This got really off topic and really weird. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on that. The reason why I shared that example with you is because, not to speak ill of those people again, it's just I wasn't me. And I think I really wonder if ever since I was a kid, if I'd learned to just be me more and to not be the me that other people wanted me to be, I wonder if those relationships would have panned out the same way. I wonder if I would have still been with those people in my life. I wonder if I would have made other friends. I don't regret though, because it's just, I can't go back in time to change things. And I'm pretty happy being the person that I am now, and I'm pretty happy with the friends that I do have. Of course, my life isn't perfect. No one's life is, but I choose to be okay with it. And generally, when I look at my life, the good stuff way outweighs the bad, and I have a lot more to be thankful of. So that's something that I remind myself of when those moments where you're trying to sleep at night and you just remember something stupid or embarrassing you did, and you just want to kick the sheets off and you're screaming internally. I do have those moments too, but I have to kind of beat them down with this idea of, hey, I'm me and it's okay. And I screwed up a lot. I will continue to screw up, but I'm gonna get better. I think as a teenager, I really wish somebody would have told me, like, look me in the face and told me everybody's really weird. Nobody's normal. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to be you. It's not okay to be a douchebag or to be intentionally hurtful. And if there's a part of you where people say, hey, genuinely this thing is making it hard for me to get along with you, I think those are the things where you might want to consider, okay, is that valid feedback? Sometimes it really is, but sometimes it's just BS and you can ignore it. So I feel like knowing how to make that judgment is going to be something that's going to be way more worth your time than for you to say, oh, well, so and so says that they want to be friends with someone who's funny and upbeat and good at social media and all this stuff. I need to do all those things. Look, relax. This is not American Idol. You can take it easy. I guarantee you somebody's going to like you for who you are because everybody is weird. There's someone for everyone. And this sounds a little bit bleak, but your people, the people that are going to be in your life for the long run, you might not meet them in high school. They might be waiting for you to meet them when you're a little bit older. And for now, that might be a little bit lonelier and it's going to suck to wait, but the wait is going to be worth it. I guarantee it. Nobody is inexcusably weird. Everybody has someone for them. I mean, look at Elon Musk. He found someone weird. I'm trying to think of other weird people and weird celebrities, but my brain is not working. Anyway, you can be you. Okay? Don't be ashamed to be you. Barring certain extremities, that kind of stuff. I believe next week's episodes, I do have a guest back on, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I am really losing my mind being at home like this. So I am genuinely hoping that I do get to see you guys soon, but that might not be for a while. So hang in there. If somebody tries to walk into your house coughing, you better write a talisman and slap it on their foreheads and banish them to the shadow realm. You better have a spritz bottle filled with, I don't know, with something. Get them out of there. Febreze them out of there. I don't care what you do. But take care of yourselves. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.